Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to Know Your English Grammar. In today's lesson, we will learn about another set of verbs that may confuse us sometimes. They are sit and set. Just like lie and lay, which I covered in my previous lesson, these two verbs are frequently confused in English language. I will explain the difference between them. Sit means to be seated in or on something. For example, I sit on a chair. This means I have seated myself on a chair. Set means to place something. For example, I set the cup on the saucer. This means I place the cup on the saucer. Now, let's look at how we identify the difference between sit and set. Sit is an intransitive verb. An intransitive verb does not need an object to complete its meaning. An object usually asks the question whom or what. For example, I sit. If we ask the question, sit whom or sit what, we do not have an answer. We cannot sit something. So sit does not need an object to complete its meaning. I sit could stand on its own because it means I'm in a seated position. In this case, I sit on a chair. I is a noun, sit is the verb, and on a chair is a prepositional phrase. There is no direct object. Therefore, sit is an intransitive verb. Now, let's look at set. Set is a transitive verb. That means it needs an object to complete its meaning. For example, I set the cup on the saucer. If we just said, I set, that would not be a complete sentence. We would have to ask the question, set whom or set what? I set the cup on the saucer. So the cup is the main object of the verb set. The action is transferred to the cup. What are the main verb forms of sit and set? Sit in its present tense form is sit. The past tense is sat. The past participle is also sat. And the present participle, which is what we call the ing form, is sitting. Here are the verb forms of set. It is an irregular verb. The present tense is set. The past tense is set. The past participle is set. And the present participle is setting. Here are some examples in sentences using the verb forms of sit. Remember, sit means to be seated in or on something. It is an intransitive verb, which means it does not need an object to complete its meaning. Using the present tense form of the verb, Tom sits at his desk every morning. Using the past tense, sat, Tom sat at his desk yesterday. For the past participle, sat, Tom has sat at his desk for hours. And using the present participle, sitting, Tom is sitting quietly at his desk. None of these sentences require an object. If we ask the question, whom or what, after each form of the verb, example, Tom sits what or Tom sits whom, we would not get an answer. There are no direct objects following the verbs. Now, let's look at the verb set. Here are some examples in sentences. Remember, set means to place something. It is a transitive verb, which means it needs an object to complete its meaning. Using the present tense form of the verb, I set the table for dinner. Using the past tense, set. Yesterday I set the table. For the past participle, set. I have set the table for dinner. And using the present participle, setting, I am setting the table for dinner. All of these sentences require an object to make sense. If we ask the question, whom or what, after each form of the verb, for example, I set what? I set the table. Table is the object of the verb set. Please note, however, that set can also be used as a noun, in which case it has a different set of meanings. And you will notice that I said set of meanings. Let's look at these examples. Set can be used as a collection of items. So, she had a set of porcelain dishware. It may also be used as a group of numbers, objects, or elements. For example, the students collected a set of data for the research project. It may also be used as a movie or television production. The stage set for the new movie production was very impressive. Let's do a little test to ensure that you fully understand the difference between sit and set. Remember, sit means to be seated. It is an intransitive verb, which means it does not need an object to complete its meaning. And the verb forms are sit, sat, sat, and sitting. Set means to place something. It is a transitive verb, which means it needs an object to complete its meaning, and the verb forms are set, 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 and setting. Question number 1. The old man blank in his chair by the window. To get our answer, we may ask, is this a form of the verb sit, which means to be seated, or a form of the verb set, which means to place something? We can easily see this is a form of the verb sit. We may also ask, is there an object in this sentence? No, there's no object in this sentence. In his chair is a prepositional phrase, so we can safely say the verb required for this sentence is an intransitive verb, which means the answer is a form of the verb sit. The old man sits in his chair by the window. Our second sentence is, we will have to blank a new date for the meeting. Does this sentence have an object? Yes, it does. A new date is the object. We could also ask, we will have to sit what? If we asked that question, we wouldn't have an answer because we cannot sit something. But if we asked, set what? Our answer would be a new date. Therefore, the verb required would be a transitive verb. Set is the transitive verb, so our answer would be, we will have to set a new date for the meeting. Our third question is, the coach blank her as the new team leader. We may ask the same question, is there an object in this sentence? Yes, her is the direct object of the action. It indicates whom the coach puts in place as the new team leader. So we can safely say, the required verb is the past tense of the verb set, which is also set. The coach set her as the new team leader. Well, that is it for this lesson. I'm sure that this is another step to help you master the art of writing perfect English grammar. It was my pleasure bringing it to you. In my next lesson, we will learn about rise and raise, another set of verbs that we use incorrectly. Thank you for joining me. For more English grammar lessons, please subscribe to this channel and let me hear from you in the comments section. See you next time. Bye.